our virtual boat show here with Engel and Volker's Yachting Americas. I'm Walter Johnson. I'm the president of Engel and Volker's Yachting Americas. Presenting today will be Leanne Icenos, the CEO, my partner in crime and COO of Engel and Volker's Yachting Americas, as well as Mark and John from AICON Yachts. So appreciate you all being on board and being a part of this presentation today. If you can, please make sure you turn off your mics. If you have a question, please feel free to use the chat. And at the end, we will go forth and answer questions from everybody. But we're really excited about our presentation today. I think you all find a lot of interest in what we plan to do. We want to try to keep this short, keep it fun, keep it exciting, keep people engaged, and show you with all this going on in the world today, what's going to make AICON special and why you guys are all here on board today. So with that, Leanne, why don't you go ahead and present our slideshow, and John and Mark, please take a moment and introduce yourself and explain why you're so excited to bring AICON back as a brand.
Hi guys, this is Mark Boyce with AICON, and yeah, we're excited because, as most of you guys know, AICON was one of the top 3 builders in Europe from 2000 and on, having built over 500 larger yachts in those 14 years. And in the past few years, past customers kept calling me and saying, is there any way that we could bring the brand back? It had one of the best running hulls in the industry. It was famous for its hulls, especially the 56 and beyond anything, the 64. And so everybody kept asking, and there was a niche market that seemed to be missing in the entire yachting industry. Everybody has these big mass-produced boats from 50 to 100 feet. And I felt like if there's a way, both on the engineering side as well as clearly from the manufacturing and the cost effectiveness side, to build a boat that could be customized, we would be building something unique in the industry. Everybody talks about customizing, but when I'm talking about customizing, it's changing layouts, changing interiors, changing woods, changing heights and everything else. So that kind of like brought me on board, and about 2 years ago, I called a former customer of mine and good friend of mine as well in some other business ventures, John Benners, and I said, hey, how about we try this and look into whether there's a way to buy the brand and see how to set up the manufacturing for this. And that's how John and I started on the project. John, please.
That's pretty cool and exciting. I mean, I know John has owned 3 icons. And, so John, what was the main driver for you to get back and help with the rebirth? You there? Got to unmute yourself. All right, well, let's move on to the next slide and keep this moving. And when John gets back, he can tell us a little bit more about what brought him back here. So just to recap, I'm Walter Johnson, President of Engel Volker's Yachting. We're really excited. We've got almost 40 people on, and we expect more as we go through this presentation. We also have Mark and John, who are the pioneers in bringing AICON back. Is super excited to have Mark on board. I saw Sergio has joined us as well. So we have an audience all the way from Italy, all the way through the United States. So I'm very excited about what we have and what we have in store for each of you. As you all know, the new AICON is born. It's really exciting to be part of bringing this brand back. And what is a delight to me is that in today's world, it's always great to be able to customize a product for someone and their specific needs. And so we're all here as a team and are excited about working with all of our clients and friends. And we really believe that all of our clients are our friends. And I'm pretty excited about that and the journey we have ahead with AICON. Leanne, let's go to the next slide. So here's a view of the 66. Mark, why don't you tell us a little bit more what makes this boat so special?
Well, the very first thing that we did, you just mentioned Sergio, is I've been friends with him since probably 15 years. He was originally involved in the first designs of the icons. And I called up Sergio and I said, there's one thing that we cannot change on the new boat when we decided to work with him, and that was the hull. And Sergio's background is hull design, is famous for especially designing boats over 150 feet, 200 feet, some of the most famous boats that are out there for the giga and billionaires. So we decided that we're going to keep the hull design without changing it, making it a little bit longer, but that's it. And then the top side, we wanted to approach it from very specific points of what I consider is bringing the ocean back into the boats. In other words, I want to have everybody be able to really enjoy being out on the water. And that is not just from one section or from one area, but from everywhere. Whether you sit at the bow or in the salon or anywhere, you can enjoy yourself and see the ocean and everything else. And that is the very first design parameters that we put on the boat as far as it's concerned there. The other ones were, everybody talks about and shows big windows, but if you don't engineer them from the inside, they look like you have big windows on the outside, but from the inside, you don't look out. So it's a fake perception that a lot of these boats are out there that had, when you go in, you're like, oh, but outside there was a big window. So that's another thing that we addressed. And if you look at the bow window in this picture specifically, the main window, it's a full beam, meaning from right to left window, and then it carries all the way up. So in other words, when you're walking into the boat from the stern, from the salon door, and you look out up front, it's all going to be one big window. It's going to be all open. The sides are going to be open. The front's going to be open. And that brings the ocean back into the inside of the living areas of the boat.
Well, now that you've talked about that, why don't we go to the next slide and start looking at some of the interiors so you can actually see how that's brought together, how the inside, outside, and some of the social connectivity that the boat offers.
Correct. One thing that's extremely important that I hadn't mentioned here, and that's going back to that customization. Here you have a layout that we designed for one of our potential customers. I think we're all extremely excited about this layout because I think he's bringing really the whole ethos of what Icon is to bear, with specific designs of the ceiling, how the sofas are designed, the seating areas. They wanted specifically the galley aft. And so if you look at the interior, it's completely customized. I mean, they decided on what sofas, what chairs, what materials, what woods, and how to accent the woods. I mean, there will be another picture down the road where if you look in the corner, you see that the piece of furniture that's going to hold the TV, it's a 3D effect. There's a 3D effect on the actual wood. And probably the most uniqueness about this boat is a request that I got from quite a few customers, especially a customer that has already owned two 64s before, kept changing that he owned 40 sport fishing boats before and never found a motor yacht that would cruise like a sport fishing guy. So they've owned two, and talking to them, they constantly complain, well, when I have guests on board, they have to go down to the living quarters to use the head. We would really like to have a head on board, which is something that you see on 85 footers, a few 75 footers out there, but on no 66 currently has an on deck
day head.
Head. And if you look to the left of the entrance, we slid in a nice head. It's got a sink. It's got everything. It's underneath the stairs, so it saves space, and it doesn't take away any effects from the openness going out. That was our biggest concern. And that will make us completely unique in this industry, in this size group, for this size of yacht to have an on-deck head as you walk in. This is also good if you're out, you're playing, the kids don't have to run through the boats, and you don't have to take care of too many different heads. So that's a very key important factor there.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially when you're on way, you're on the same level. You're not stuck down below where you're not seeing where you're going and seeing what happens. I think the openness of this design and the connectivity with the inside outside is absolutely fantastic. Why don't we go to the next slide and let's talk about that. So here's a different view. Go ahead.
Yeah, here you see, well, first of all, you see the bow seating there. There's a couple of important things that we did. A lot of people have the bow seating now, and then the sun deck in the front. What we did, you can't see it in the thing, but the bow seating facing forward is regular seating that can be turned into another sun pad. But the sun pad that's in front of it, the cushions can be popped up so that you have the cross-sectional talking once again. There's also wide gunnels, which is something that everybody, and we bring the gunnels up. So there's no toe stubbing on cleats. There is safety, and especially like myself, I'm a big dog lover. The open railings and the flat gunnels where it's always dangerous. I had a boat and literally had to change the boat because I was too scared for my dog to walk up the front because he could just slide off in these things. And another little factor in there too, you see underneath the sun pad, the black marking, that's all window to the lower VIP stateroom. So we bring light into that as well. So as you're walking into that, you'll see that in the layouts down the road, you literally can, just like when you're walking from the stern into the boat and you see the whole open front window, as you're walking down below to the lower areas, the staterooms, you're walking down the center hallway, you can look straight through the VIP and you have another window in. So it's always endless viewing. Whenever you walk into any area, we want you to be near the ocean and actually experience it. As far as the interior, you can see another alternative. It's a more classic.
Let's go to the next slide.
And that's a different version of what you saw before, more classic, less accent to the ceilings, and just a simpler, more modern feeling. And specifically, we chose this picture to show you guys because of the bow window. You notice here, there's no center A-beam, there's no center support. That's a window that's manufactured in Germany. Comes out of a big oven, goes from beam to beam. So we're talking a window that's probably 14 foot wide and about 8 foot tall. And then the 3 windows on top are there so that we can do shades in case the sun hits too hard or something else.
Well, that's really exciting. I mean, being able to see and view is really important. Here's the sky. Let's go on to the sky bridge because that's also as important. People love sky bridges and they tend to spend a lot of time up there. And let's talk about what's so special about this one.
Going back to everything, the bottom line, I guess we should call the company customization almost. Here we have, what we did is we did all of one floor. It's all open areas and we have different furniture. They're all modular. So in other words, in this layout, for example, we have regular seating, a bench seating, which is very popular in Europe for the way that they boat, and a large bar area, which is very popular in the United States, but not as popular in Europe. So what we've done is we will have different furnitures for different markets. In Europe, for example, where people use the bar just slightly a little less, we have a smaller bar, and we can make the areas bigger. And I just saw a question how big the beam on the flybridge is. The boat is actually, we were going to get to that a little bit later, extremely beamy. I've noticed something in the industry is that everybody has fake number, where a 66 is actually LOA 65, and they round it up. Our boat is 66 hull lengths. That means from the stern to the bow, not the anchor sticking out, no swim plots sticking out or anything else. And if you calculate how they calculate, our boat is 72 feet, 72.4, I think. And beam-wise, the industry standard for 66 is somewhere around 17 to 17 and a half. Our boat takes more of a sport fishing approach, and that is very wide so that you can use it. And it's 18 foot and 4 inches. And if I had to guess, I haven't really measured the top for the question from it. I would say it's probably 15 feet wide on the flybridge. But as you can see here, we also have different layouts. We have the lounge chairs in the back. For Europe, we have it supported so that we can put a davit. Also in the United States, you can put a tender, a jet ski up on top. It's the idea being that you can use it any way that you want. Notice one other thing that I want to just quickly point out is the railing. Something that I've noticed is the industry's gotten pretty stale. Everybody got the stainless steel round railings. So with Sergio, who has clearly been designing the larger yachts and the mega yachts and everything else, I said, can you approach some of these manufacturers and can you see whether we can have some customized railing made? And these are all carbon fiber, and they look square, but they're actually not square. It's very unique. The bottom is all square, but the top of the railing is slightly rounded. So when you're feeling it, you still get that feeling of nice roundness, not the sharp edges, but yet you have the look of the modern square that everybody likes to have. And clearly also up here, any choices in colors, any choices of fabrics that you want to use, whether you have teak. This is a layout with teak. Most American customers do not care for teak up on top. They just want the regular fiberglass. And once again, you also have the sunroof so that you can open up in case it's beautiful weather. And
go ahead. That's really exciting. I mean, being able to customize it and then just getting down to the fine details and just making them special and unique. That's really a great detail. Let's go on to the next slide. Leanne, let's go to the next slide. There we go. So here's the aft deck, which is also a very important feature of any yacht because it's the first part you see, and it's probably the part that most people spend some of their times, most of their time entertaining on.
So here is where we increase the length of the boat a little bit. You will see that between this one and the 64, we gained about 1.5 feet of space in the aft deck. One thing we wanted to do is a wraparound seating. In this case, we have a bar area, but you can also carry the seating all the way around if you just prefer seating. The idea here is that the window that you see above the bar is actually openable. It will slide right up to the top and the door will open so that you can have the whole area inside open. And there's the other thing that's very important also, something that I saw on a boat, I think it was a 200-footer that Sergio designed, forgot the name of the boat, and he carried all the teak down. He carried the teak down. Instead of just having teak lay on top of fiberglass or some structure, he carried the teak, designed it so that you just have a flow of it, make it more softer, make it more, it's a little bit more expensive to build clearly, but it creates just a much higher end. If you look at the design of this boat, there's a lot of influence from boats that Sergio did, in the 150, 200-foot range.
That's exciting. Let's move on to the next slide because I think it only gets better. Here's the side view, and there's something here that's really special. Talk about the enclosed sky bridge.
Yeah,
Awesome.
this is a request that we keep getting from Northeast and Northwesterners, especially in the Northwest, and that is enclosed fly bridges. There are a few, I'm not going to say the name, but there are a few market companies that are building them, but they tend to be very boxy. They tend to be there just doesn't seem to have the elegance on it. And the problem always arises is that all these manufacturers have to mass produce. They have to build 100 of these boats. Since we're designing this differently, our manufacturing setup is completely different. We were able to do something, what's going to be very unique. The hull and deck of the boat is going to remain the same, but the superstructure that everybody maintains to customize, to optimize. Can we go back?
You go back one slide, Leanne. Here we go.
Perfect. So what we've done is we're actually creating a entire new mold of the superstructure. And if you look at it, the superstructure has been elongated, and that it gives us the ability to create a more sleeker look. Now, this is not a boat that's probably going to go very well in Europe because they like to have it open. They only boat 1 month out of the year, so they want to see as much sun as possible. But for us Americans, this is a great boat for the Northeast, and northwest especially, where you can have enclosed. But it has not, one very important thing, it hasn't changed the usage of the cockpit or the whole section aft on the flybridge. You still have usable space to be out at the ocean. So we're very excited.
I think it's very exciting. I mean, it's an appropriate design fixture because I agree. Most enclosed fly bridges, sky bridges, look like an afterthought. This looks like it's part of the design, and very well done. Thanks to, great
and
job.
Let me just one more, Walter. Oh, sorry. One more quick thing to point out. In the 60s range, everybody basically has the anchor sitting on the bow, just sticking out. It's what has to be done on 50-footer for the angle and technical engineering. Since this is more like a 72-footer as far as the real length of everything is, we worked with Sergio to incorporate the anchor inside of the hull, underneath it, to create a more mega yacht feeling. And then later on in another slide, I'll show you also what that enabled us to do in the bow from the top end.
Fantastic. Let's go on and we'll talk about the aft deck because that's the next set of slides.
Yeah. So this one here, once again, going back to the whole idea of wanting to bring the ocean and having people really enjoy the water. The whole back area is an activities area. So what you have is on the starboard and port side, you'll have the entrance to your crew area, and on the left side, the thing swings open and you'll have your shower. The center section is an activities that can be customized to the owner's wants. So here I'm showing you two versions: a lounge chair where you can just lay back. Let's say you're anchored out in the Bahamas or something. You can lay out and just show, and the top hatch acts actually as a bimini shape so that you have some cover on it. Or if you, like myself, love to dive, you can turn the whole back area into a diving station with a compressor, with everything else. Have your station with a little sitting bar. You can turn on your, can we go back? You can turn your, no, back. There you go. Nope, there you go. And you can put your tanks on and everything. One picture that's not shown here is what I call the Miami version. And you can have a TV installed, a small bar with, you can do a little refrigerator and everything else. And you can literally be in Key Biscayne, watch your football game, social distancing away from everybody, and still have a nice 50-inch, 60-inch TV in the back there to watch anything out there. Another thing you also notice, the whole idea of taking the teak down, curving, and everything else is brought down, as well as we play a lot with the fiberglass. The AICON, the bird logo is on inside. That will be all lit underneath with LED lighting. So there's going to be a lot of effects. So at night, the boat is really going to stand out. Clearly all dimmable so that you can have smaller things. One last thing I want to point out also is the cleats. We're switching over to carbon fiber, ionized kind of black cleats so that they don't just stick out. Everything molded in and homogeneous to the boat.
That's awesome. I mean, all these spaces are so important in being able to customize. Here's a great aerial view that talks about, you can talk about the bow area and how clean that is.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we really, and once again, this credit goes all to Sergio. I've had a lot of customers in the past that came to me, especially the wives, and we always have to realize that in the end, it's the wives that buy the boat and allow us to buy the boat, or the buyers. And when they stub their toenails against a cleat or against windlass or anything in the front, it's not a good day for anybody on board. And one thing that we did, and one of the specifications that we wanted to have, if you look at the bow, everything is hidden underneath. You're going to have a flat surface so that you don't have any issues with hitting anything. It's also great for my dog, and it's just open. The other thing that when you look at this boat now is all the open area. It really is almost like an open boat. You have the bow area that is a really enjoyable cross section, either sun pad, seating, and everything else. And the bimini can be installed in the front there, pop-up bimini. The flybridge is, I don't want to say the largest, but probably the largest by square foot of any mid-60s flybridge out there, with seating in the front that faces the captain so that you have cross-sectional talking there, seating in the back, bow, lounging. In this one, you also notice if you zoom in, if you look closely, a lot of boats, we have those little grills. This takes an American version of it. It has a stainless steel mega grill on the top, so you can literally do some cooking and not just have this little one steak per time. Stern-wise, in the cockpit, the seating area turns also into a sun pad, so that you can have sun pad in the front, sun pad in the back, depending on where you have everything.
That's so exciting. I mean, it's obviously a great blend of inside, outside living spaces. And what I particularly like is, the lack of toe kicks, because that's important when you're, have guests who aren't familiar with boating running around a boat. You want them to have a great day. So here's an outline of some, general specifications for the boat, and a lot of it that we've spoken about. But what I really like is the opportunity, really from the start, you're able to customize the power package, so the boat comes with 3 different power packages, depending on, what your range, how fast you want to go, and which preference that you have, whether you like cat or man. It's pretty exciting. So really from the motors on up, everything really has an opportunity to be customizable.
Yeah, it's very, if you can go back, there's a couple of points I want to make there too. The engine part is very important, and there's also an MTU option if you really need it. Because I always go to customers that, where do you boat? We built recently a customer for up in Portland, Maine, and he really liked a certain specific engine manufacturer and drive system and everything else. And that's important to listen to the customer, because it's more important the service that you're going to get in the area that you're boating than the actual engine. They're all great engines, but there could be some areas where Caterpillar is the better dealer than MAN. There could be vice versa, and everything else. Some people don't need to have all the speed. Some people can want to go a little bit slower. The other thing I wanted to point out here is the draft. One of the things that I've learned, I'm from Italy, but I've boated over in the Bahamas a lot, is that shallow draft is absolutely mandatory. So with Sergio, we created some pockets, some deeper pockets, and we maintained the 5-foot draft. We're hoping to go under 5 foot, but I'm going to stick at 5. And once again, the other point that I made earlier is about the length of the boat. It's called a 66, but its true length is it's almost 72 feet. In LOA, like everybody else would say, and then the beam of 18.4. There is no boat on the market that currently has a true beam anywhere near. Everybody's under 18 feet. So that's an extra half, and anybody that's boated knows that the boat really gets its massiveness out of the beam.
Absolutely. Boats grow by square footage, so by cubic foot actually. So by having that extra width makes a lot of excitement. So here's some unique features from Sergio's kind of sketch.
Yeah, this brings us back to the beginning. This was about probably a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when Sergio first presented his first thoughts of what this boat was going to look like. And if you can see, we haven't altered a lot from that original design, with the screen, the front bow screen, the big windows, the openness, the usability. We kept some uniqueness of AICON's beautiful logo and everything else. And all that's going to be lit up with LED lights too. So that from the side, we're really going to try to do something that I've seen more done on center consoles and sport fishing guys. Americans love all this exciting lighting and everything else, and not the stay 20, 30 years ago ideas, so that you can really make a statement of the boat.
That's fantastic. Let's move on to the next slide and kind of keep this moving along. So this starts talking about the layouts, and this is going from the sky bridge down.
Correct.
And and basically showing how each area really is customizable, and you can lay it out in different forms and functions.
Right. And here this is the layout that we have proposed for the US market, for example, with the 2 captain chairs. Americans like to have those. And in Europe, it would be a bench seating. And here we have the very large bar, which will include a complete an ice maker, refrigerator, sink, and everything else. And very interesting also is the seating. If you look, the bow seat, the forward seating can be used both as a sun pad by lowering the little table and installing another cushion, or it can be used as a talking while you're running. I've noticed on the older 64 where we just had a sun pad, it was sometimes hard if I was captaining or if I was driving to have my friends talk to me. They would be behind me and they wouldn't be sitting next to me. So this is the idea of, while cruising, especially for owner operators, you can interact with your guests. And then the back area, you see the large barbecue, the 2 lounge chairs, and that can be replaced with a davit and a jet ski if somebody would want.
That's awesome. Let's move on to the next level.
This is one of the 2 versions that we did of the salon. This is the galley forward version. And here we brought in something very unique, and that is the American country kitchen. And that is, Americans are more relaxed, more enjoyable. Bar, sitting, at the counter, having a drink while you're still talking. The wife's in the kitchen, the husband's in the kitchen. We use it as an entertainment area. We're not as formal. So what we did is, because we have that extra length in the boat, we have a forward-facing little bar at the galley, so that not only can you talk, you can sit there, watch the game behind you, talk to everybody. And if you look, everything is cross. In other words, if I'm sitting starboard, I can talk to the people on port. On port, I can talk to the people on starboard, This is with the lounge chairs and everything else. Sternwise, we're bringing the aft cockpit seating around. And there you have the bar, with the window opening to the inside. You can sit outside at the bar and have drinks as well and be open to everybody else.
That's exciting. It's always important to be able to blend the outside entertainment with the inside and flow. So here's the next one with the aft kitchen, because some people really appreciate that.
This is really exciting, because what this does now, it literally makes that whole floor one large area. Unique, and I have not talked about it. We were able to eliminate all the steps on the salon. If you look at all our competitors right now, they have from 1 to 2 steps going in the salon, so that you always going up, down, up, down, up, down. It's just a little thing. And then when you're moving and you're driving, I've done 500-600 hours a year on boats, and you got going. That's a good place to trip and fall. It's just not safe to do that. So having all this in one space now, you have the salon door open, you have the window next to the salon open, you have the door to the side of the forward captain open, you have the window that goes down on the port side open, and literally the closed boat has become an open boat, with everything being one big entertainment area where people can enjoy and everything else. And
that's really, really, really cool. I love boats that are on one level, removing trip points, and having this all opened up. It's going to be just a huge space for entertaining.
Yeah. I saw a question just pop up by Roger. And yes, they're definitely going to have the new bow thrusters that are variable, and also stern thrusters with a joystick. So in other words, you can drive. Everybody loves the pod drives because of the joysticks, but the problem is they are not easy to maintain for larger vessels, and there's just not enough power for those. And installing 3 engines doesn't make any sense on a boat this size. I'm against it personally. So when you go back to the the different engine options, they all will come with a joystick, your bow and stern thrusters. So as you come into the dock, you can use that to maneuver in and make it much easier.
That's fantastic. Let's go down below and talk about how how people can customize that space, because I think when they see that they can have, 3, 4 cabins, and they see that the captain's quarters are all set aft, it really kind of opens it up for a palette of however they want it to be.
Yeah, there's so many options. We probably have designed 20, 30 different versions of the lower deck area, for example. So we're showing you 2 main ones. One of the things I noticed last year, I went to a boat show with a friend of mine, and we were going around, and one of the competitors had a 4 stateroom. I said, could I order 3 stateroom? And they said, no, we can take the beds out if you want. I said, well, what am I going to do with that room? It's just going to sit there. So the idea here being is we really want to build this boat custom. So this is a 4 stateroom layout. One of the things you can notice, for example, is the walk around VIP berth. I hate VIP berths where you have to throw yourself up front, where you can't make the beds, everybody, and you just, this way everybody can use it nicely. And it also very good for the future if you ever want to charter the boat or put it in charter service. It makes it almost as having 2 master suites. And with the 4 stateroom layout, you still have the ability to have guests on board. And then aft of the master, if you look at the master, this is the layout with the 1 bigger bathroom head and with a larger storage area. You'll see another version if we can go to the next one.
Let's go to the next one, because that's exciting. I mean, that shows, the 4. Let's go to the next slide. Leanne, let's move on to the next slide and show how that one's laid out.
What you'll see on the next slide also, if you look immediately, just keep your eyes on the head and the aft. Here you have the entrance with the storage area, very similar to what we've done in the 78 Icon, 75 Icon back in the old days, where you can have a storage area and then go into your master with your two sinks and shower. The boat remains kind of the same, but yet you will see that you can have now a his and hers separate bathroom. And that comes because I've had a lot of customers. There you go. Now you have storage-wise, we've moved the storage around. We separate it. It's not all in one location. Now it's in 3 areas. So you have the same amount of storage, but you have a his and hers with the shower in the middle. Why is that important? I'm not going to be too specific. Is that if you have, if you have to go to the bathroom and your wife wants to go to the other to makeup, you're not creating situations, uncomfortable situations, call it this way, with a beautiful shower in the middle, which will have marble and everything around it. So this is a good layout. What you see here is where we took the 4 stateroom and made it what I call the entertainment area for the master. So now imagine you have, when you're coming down the stairs and you walk into your master, first of all, you'll be able to see straight out all the big windows. Second of all, you can make that area an entrance area. You can make it a washer and dryer area. You can make it a storage area. You can make it a lounging TV area, so that if you want to have a separate area, you have a bunch of kids and you want to have your own TV while your wife falls asleep, you still have a lower. You can make it your private office. A lot of my customers, they spend a month, 2 months on the boat, and they need an office area, private away, where guests cannot go and see your private business papers and everything else. So we can customize that any way we want. Also in the master, you have a makeup table on the one side for the lady, sofa on the other side. We can take the sofa out, move furniture there. We can take the makeup table out, move the sofa there, whatever you want. And on top of that, what we forgot to talk about in the interior is that all the interior, you will decide the types of, you'll sit with our interior designer, Giuseppina Arena. Sorry that I hadn't mentioned her before. Giuseppina is extremely well-versed in, even though being European with also American tastes, is that you sit with her and you go, what's your taste? You want a light colored boat or a dark colored boat? You want gloss, non-gloss? You want an oak, a cherry, a Bengay? We can choose the wood that you want and then work from that to do your lighting, your accents, your door handles, and everything else. Just like as if you were sitting down at a mega yacht builder deciding your 150, 200 footer.
That's exciting. And so here we are back back to the side view of the boat with this iconic round window. It's really, really, really exciting.
Yeah,
let's go on. This is what I really loved when we were able to launch at the Miami show. This video, it's a short video. I think it tells a lot about the story of Icon and what we have in store. Should be showing the sound. Huh? The sound's not showing up.
Leanne, you need to turn your speaker on.
Yeah, Leanne, there it goes. It worked before.
Well, I'll narrate it. There was Sergio designing. And the idea being here is that, bringing all this, the leathers also, we just, the way that you can, with double stitching, single stitching, all these things are very personalized. And that's what I think is missing in the industry is that we've gotten so used to people buying yachts that we have lost focus. That the person that's buying this boat, it's a $3 million boat, let's say in the US. And we're treating him as if he's going to buy a Hyundai. It's not that customized level. Guys, $3 million is a lot of money. Why have we gotten to the point where we're charging that much money for a boat? And it does cost a lot to build a boat, no question about it. But why can we not give the customer some value for it? And that brings it back to the manufacturing. I want to make just a quick point for anybody that's a little bit more technical. I don't want to get too much into it. You're probably thinking, well, how can you compete price-wise? We're still going to be price competitive. Actually, we're going to be very price competitive. What we've done is we don't have all the fat. We don't have the CapEx, all the expenditures and everything else. We're going to go with a united front with Engels & Völkers in how we approach customers. There's not going to be distribution layers of local factories selling to the distributor in Europe, who sells to the distributor in the United States, who then sells to the local dealer, who then sells to the broker. You've added 10%, 10%, 10%, 15% to all those levels. Nobody's actually bringing anything of value to the end user. So we said, let's take out all those things, sell a few less, and then one thing that we didn't talk about earlier, Walter, was where we will build them. We decided to go back and not only take over all the buildings and all the factories that Icon had, but to remain in Sicily. Why? Because it is literally the heart of yacht manufacturing. Even though everybody is up north, if you look at the engineers and everybody else in the cruise lines, they're all Sicilians in the end. And with Sicily having a labor force that, is extremely talented, an area where our costs approach levels that Asia, I don't want to say China because it's got a bad reputation these days, we can approach build costs very aggressive. We have a lot of support by Sicily, the local guys, the local politicians, the local, everything that really has enabled us to save another 5–10% in manufacturing costs by building it there, where we have a phenomenal labor force. And we are away from everybody else. Everybody's up north. And what you're doing is you're competing for the same workers. Down there, we have our own little haven. And this is an artistic drawing from Sergio that shows the principal ideas of the curves, of the roundness. Everybody's gone to these very square-looking, almost RV trailer bus boats. And I said, how can we get something that still has all the volume that these boats have, but still maintain the look of the iconic Icon 64?
That's exciting. Now let's move on to the next slide. And we'll work to wrap up our presentation. I think part of the excitement of us joining together is the worldwide network that we offer with Engel and Volkers. We're also the first group that has a referral network between our real estate advisors as well as our yacht advisors here in the Americas. So we're really excited about the footprint and the opportunity to meet and touch and talk to people. If you need to get a hold of everybody, it's really easy to get a hold of either Mark, myself, or John. And we're always here to assist you. I think being able to be focused, you're in Palm Beach, we're here on the West Coast, we're building in Sicily. It's really, really exciting that we have such broad coverage and a design of a yacht that is really, really striking, whether you're going in the open configuration or with the sky bridge. And then it's also easy to find us on social media. You can find us on all of our social media channels, whether you're going through the EV Yachting Americas channels or myself on Walter Johnson Yachts, Walter Johnson EV on Instagram. Able to find you guys as well, Icon on social media. And that's that. Anything else that, John, you want to bring to the table and talk about?
Yeah, well, sorry about the earlier mute over there, but I couldn't have said it better than Mark, and you can see the passion. It's certainly not lacking by any means. And why it was a no-brainer when he came to me and asked to team up and go to Sicily and buy the brand. I mean, clearly the new 66 that Sergio has designed is going to set new standards as well as continue the great legacy of the Icon brand. So all very exciting, and thank you all for joining.
Yeah, thank you all for joining. The presentation ran a little longer than we all anticipated, but you can see there's so much enthusiasm and just really so many opportunities and things to talk about with the Icon brand. We look forward to answering all your questions, and we look forward to the exciting future ahead. So once again, thanks all for joining. It was exciting to see our numbers grow throughout the presentation, and we recorded this, so we'll be able to present it on social media. Thanks again, everybody, and have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye.